Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here with part 2 of an amazing interview about the culture and the programs that are available at MorningStar Senior Living with Brittany Fleshman, who is the Vice President of Culture and Program Development. And Brittany, I'm so glad you're with us this hour. This is really important. And, you know, it's interesting because we talked in first segment about the people that you have and the vision and, the, you know, just how you put together this incredible culture of MorningStar. And I want to kind of shift it now to your residents, because I think a lot of times families, I remember when I was looking for a place for my mom to live in assisted living. It was an emotional time of my life. I had just a little bit of time because before she was going to be released from rehab. I didn't know, but there was no direction for me of what are the questions I need to ask? What do I need to know? Everybody, when we went on our little, 2-day tour trying to find a place for my mother, it was like there was just everybody had a sales pitch. Mm-hmm. And I kind of felt like I was a deer in the headlights. I didn't know how to choose. I didn't. And my mom wasn't there. I had to make this profound decision that was going to people that were going to be taking care of my mom. And the biggest thing I always talk about is, when I talk to providers all the time, in my program, I'll always ask them, what's the number one question that a family has in the back of their mind that they probably don't ask you? And what they come back is, well, how much is it going to cost and all that stuff? That isn't it. It's, can I trust you with the care of my loved one? What is it that you do that can instill trust in people? And when I heard about the Radiance program, I think really what you do is you communicate that trust level through numerous ways. And I really want to talk about that. So if a resident comes to live with you, how does that extend to them and their experience of living in your community?
Yeah, that's a great question, Suzanne. Being an executive director myself, and this is what I've learned from the company over the years, we've done a disservice to our society as a whole in just the lack of education of what getting older looks like and what our bodies and minds might have eventually. So it's really important for our marketing team and our executive director, when we have families come in, really sitting down with them and starting from ground zero. Yeah. What is assisted living? What is independent living or memory care? What's dementia? So just kind of solving all those things right in there, and then learning ins and outs of their loved ones. And that's why I love what MorningStar does, is we take every aspect of our residents and our families of what they're going to expect, what they're experiencing right now, and making whatever it is that we do for that loved one so specific and so real that meets their needs and wants and exceeds expectations. So it's that educational piece is so important, and it's nice to be able to work amongst these people who know what they're talking about and know what the family is looking for. And it's a scary thing. It's like you said, it's scary. There's a lot of questions. And are you going to take care of my mom? Are you going to take care of my dad? And so,
or they don't even know the questions to ask.
They don't know.
And they're kind of lost in the process. And you're right. This industry, quote unquote, has not done a good job in educating the consumers. And I've always said that. It's like, families are walking around kind of lost. I mean, it's why we do what we do at Answers for Elders, because they don't know what questions they should be asking. They don't understand industry lingo. A lot of times people will say, well, it's a CCRC, and somebody looks at you like blank. It's like, well, what does that mean? And there's all these misnomers of, well, I don't have $150,000 to put into a community to even get in there. And it's like, there's so many different types of communities, and only those types of communities, there's very few. A lot of them, you can come in and, and through the sale of your house or whatever, pay monthly, and you don't have to come up with a lot of money. Right. So there's a lot. And I think that's the thing. The other thing that I was really impressed with is I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of veterans that are in your communities. I think that the fact that you have such a specialized understanding of our military and military culture is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, one of the things we have actually in all of our communities is what we call the wall of honor. So when our marketing team and our wellness team meets with our residents, we find out they are veterans. We make that known to everyone in our community. So their picture is on that wall, their stories. I was just at a community yesterday and walking by a room and the door is closed, but right next to it, it said, you know, our valued senior who had served in, you know, World War II, whatever that might be, World War I. We've seen them all. And our life enrichment coordinators who are in charge of activities, this is really important to them too, to make sure that we celebrate them, of course, on Veterans Day, but throughout the year. Our frontline and heart of the house, they know who our veterans are. They know the questions to ask, to sit and hear those stories, to really thank them for our service and what they've done for our country. That's something MorningStar is very proud of. And
I can totally tell.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And the thing that I have been impressed with is, like, I've been to a couple of your communities myself, and when they're addressing a veteran, they will say, you know, they'll use his title, like, you know, Captain so-and-so or Sergeant so-and-so. And I was going, wow, there's this level of respect that is shown. And I know that that was one of your buzz terms about respect. I think it's the last one. There is that level of honoring and that resident for who they are. And it doesn't matter if they have dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that. That individual is, you know, owed their dignity and they're owed the level of respect. And I think the fact that you teach that, it really is an experience when you go into your communities. And you know, I've seen that firsthand.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's great about the Wall of Honor too. If you're a brand new team member and you're working with a resident, you can see their picture when they were serving us and you get to have those conversations. So.
Yeah. And I think that's really the key. And then obviously, you know, you have military veterans, you have people that have come into your communities. And what are some of the experiences that residents, I mean, I'm sure you have like feedback. What singles the resident experience out from other types of communities?
I really do think it's getting to know the resident inside and out. We have what we call a to know me is to love me form. So when our residents move in, this form indicates everything they like, from their favorite foods or desserts, where they're from, what they did as a child that they love to do, a favorite hobby. And so every single team member in the entire community gets access to those to know me is to love me. So right then and there, right off the bat, our team members know how to speak and carry those conversations and really hone in on that individual as a person and a guest in their home, really. So there's, you know, we already have that foundation set. And then we get to, using our Radiance program, we get to just build that, whatever it might be. You know, the other day we had a resident come to one of our meetings and said, my grandma, when I was little, used to make this dish. Here's the recipe. And we give it to our executive chef and he makes it a special deal. Yeah. So it's fun. And then all the residents at that dinner gets to know who this is from and why they love it. And so we make that known. We make it very specific to our residents.
Well, and it's so cool too, because I know that in several of your communities, you have a private dining room.
We do.
Where people can actually have their family and they can come in and they can host a dinner for their family, which is, I think, one of the things that's really hard for people is, you know, they think that they're going to not have a sense of purpose if they move into senior living. And yet life can be so much better and your sense of purpose can be magnified because you're part of something greater. They have the opportunity to move into a community that is truly there for, you know, to serve them, but also to help integrate them to give them more sense of purpose. If they want to host a dinner for their loved ones, they can. They
Yes.
can do different types of, activities, or, I've seen people out at Silver Lake in Everett, and they're actually doing all the gardens outside, the
Yes.
raised garden beds, and they take ownership of this. This is something that's important to them. And of course, me being a gardener, that touches my heart deeply.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to do something like that. So obviously there's a lot of different types of opportunities when you move into a community like this. So what am I not touching on that we probably should bring up?
Sure. I mean, we love to, again, get to meet the expectations of our residents and what they love to do. So like you said, gardening, that's a huge thing for our residents. So we do have gardening in all of our communities. And what's really fun too, come fall, they get to pick their vegetables or whatever that might be. And we give it to our executive chef and actually prepare meals, which is neat. So that's just one of many examples. But, if we've got residents who love to play certain instruments, we put them on the calendar, invite everyone as they play, whether it's piano or guitar.
I love that.
Might be. So one of the other things we do, we have a lot of top-notch technology that we use. FaceTime is really big. So we get to have, even if our families can't come in, maybe they're out of state and they can't use the private dining room for a special occasion, we get to set up these beautiful FaceTime with our residents and their family members. So it almost is like they're there, and we have these big screens for them to use, set it all up for them, and then they get to have that family quality time, whether they're in person or not.
Yeah. Well, that is really, really important. And, again, so just in closing out this segment, Brittany, you have how many communities again? 31?
We're at 31 right now.
Okay. And that you're primarily in the western sector of the USA, but I think you go as far east as Iowa, if I seem to remember. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So go to, and why don't you share the website? If you're interested, check out MorningStar Senior Living. What's the website?
Yep, it is morningstarseniorliving.com, and it's got all of our communities, their locations, and even the ones that are coming soon.
Perfect. And for each and every one of you, we're going to talk next a little bit about the foundation, about community service and how each community works to give back to their own community. And Brittany and I will be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.